From the Palestra in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, it's a college basketball doubleheader, the Philly Hoop Group Classic.
4 teams from 4 different conferences will be playing in 2 exciting games at the historic Palestra. The first annual Philly Hoop Group Classic, the Liberty Bracket Championship Round. Game 1 kicks off with the Robert Morris Colonials of the Northeast Conference taking on the Howard University Bisons of the MEAC. And in Game 2, the 4-2 Loyola Greyhounds of the MAC Conference taking on the 4-1 Drexel Dragons from the CAA. It's the Philly Hoop Group Classic, and it's coming up next.
Inside the Palestra, we are minutes away from a college basketball doubleheader. We are set to settle the Liberty bracket this afternoon, all right here on CN8. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Philadelphia. My name is Greg Murphy. It is the final day of the first annual Philly Hoop Group Classic, and we are happy to bring it to you. What a day of college basketball we have here on CN8. 4 games altogether, 2 this afternoon, 2 more this evening. And as I mentioned, this afternoon we're going to settle the Liberty brackets as we take a look at our brackets, brought to you by Philly Sports Radio 950. Up top there, you see it. The consolation game will be the first game of the afternoon. Howard taking on Robert Morris. Then immediately following that, Loyola will take on Drexel for the championship game of the Liberty bracket. We will settle the Independence bracket a little bit later on tonight. But what a day of college basketball indeed. As I mentioned, our first game, a battle between the MEAC Conference and the Northeast Conference. Let's take you down courtside to the 2 guys who will call the action. It's Mick Moninghoff and Rob Kennedy. Guys?
All right, thanks very much, Murph. You know, Rob, they may call this a consolation game, but it's well worth noting that both of these teams do have a win already in this tournament.
And good wins on the road. Howard came into this building and beat Penn handily, won by 15. Robert Morris, they almost got 2 wins in this event early on. They won at Navy and nearly upset Seton Hall in a wild one, 111-107. So these are 2 good teams, very talented teams.
Let's focus on some of the top players we'll keep an eye on here today. First off, for the Howard Bison, Eugene Myatt has already dropped 36 on Penn in this tournament.
Yeah, there's a reason why they won by 15. He was the biggest reason. You see, he averages over 20 points per game. One of the cornerstones in this rebuilding effort for Gil Jackson, who knows a lot about the Palestra. He was an assistant coach here at Penn for 16 seasons.
Now, Robert Morris, with a win today, can get back over 500. Jeremy Chappelle's their leader, has already had 3 20-point games this season.
And he can really score the basketball. They have some terrific senior leadership in Tony Lee as well as A.J. Jackson, but Chappelle might be the most talented player on the team. A terrific athlete, can really fill it up from outside, and also finishes with a flurry in transition.
Coming up, game number 1 of a great day of basketball here on CN8 as Robert Morris takes on Howard. We'll have the starting lineups and the tip coming up, so don't go away. The Philly Hoop Group Classic is brought to you by the Hoop Group. The Philly Hoop Group Classic is brought to you by The Philly Hoop Group Classic is brought to you by the Hoop Group, dedicated to fulfilling dreams. For more information on camps, clinics, tournaments, and more, log on to hoopgroup.com. By Anaconda Sports. For all your sporting good needs, visit anacondasports.com. By Reebok. I am what I am. And by Eastern Invitational Basketball Clinic, the nation's #1 exposure camp. Eastern Invitational, where stars are born. Welcome back inside the Palestra here in Philadelphia on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania. The Philly Hoop Group Classic, game number 1 this afternoon as Howard takes on the Colonials of Robert Morris. Here is the tail of the tip, and you'll see that Howard at 2 and 3 has had some trouble rebounding the basketball. In turn, Robert Morris, a very good team, Rob, at forcing turnovers.
Well, they get up after you defensively, full court pressure, and they turn their defense into offense. They get out and run their best when they're in transition.
And now let's take a look at today's starting lineups brought to you by the Hoop Group. Curtis White, Jerron Smith, Adam Walker, Eugene Myatt, and Candy McCooley will start for Howard. Pateco Francisco, Jimmy Langhurst, Tony Lee, Jeremy Chappelle, and A.J. Jackson for the Colonials of Robert Morris. And that's all brought to you by the Hoop Group, the worldwide leader in basketball instruction. Remember fans, for everything hoops, log on to thehoopgroup.com. Mike Rice in his first season at Robert Morris, looking to go over 500 today.
Familiar with this building, 2 years an assistant coach to Phil Martelli before moving on to the University of Pittsburgh last season. His first opportunity as a head coach, and they're off to a good start.
So he patrols the sidelines for the Colonials. And Gil Jackson was here for 16 years under Fran Dunphy. Now he's in his 3rd year at Howard.
And doing a terrific job of trying to build a program at Howard, not just a basketball team, but a program. They've won 2 games in the Big Five so far this year, not only beating Penn in this building earlier on, but also beating LaSalle.
Here's your tip. McCooley going up against Jackson. It is controlled by the Bison. They try to throw it inside and run away a turnover to start the game as Tony Lee picks it off. Lee has about 9 assists a game. Down the lane for Lee. That's not going to go. There's a good rebound inside.
And Howard did hold their own on the backboards yesterday in the loss against Loyola. As you saw the graphic coming in, they've been getting beat up on the backboards. They were hold their own yesterday, but they turned the basketball over. That was their problem yesterday. 18 turnovers so far here in the first 30 seconds. They've got 2 turnovers.
On the baseline, Candy McCooley shuffled the feet. Jimmy Langhurst will bring it up. Looking for Lee. Now Lee going to center it up against man pressure. Actually, they got to the zone now.
Just staying in man, but now if they get an opportunity to slough off, depending on who's got the basketball, getting themselves back in the passing lane.
Jumper there by Jackson won't go. And Curtis White will bring it up. Just underway, no score. Jerron Smith in a little trouble, gives up. McCooley tries from outside. It's not going to go. A tip, long tip, and it's kicked out of bounds. The Bison still have it.
Always in any consolation game in an event, very important to come out with some energy early on. Always going to be a smaller crowd. It's an earlier game. You got to make sure that you bring the energy, because you're not going to be able to feed off the crowd or feed off others. It's got to come from within.
That ball knocked out of bounds, and it looks like the Bison's still going to have it right on the end line. So we'll see what play they call here as it's inbounded by Curtis White from Indianapolis, Indiana.
From Pike High School, a terrific high school program out of Indianapolis. They've got 2 players on their team from that high school. Kyle Riley, who's injured and will be out today. He's one of their better players. The Bisons without 2 of their first 6 guys. Randy Hampton suffering a hand injury yesterday against Drexel, and he'll be out as well. So the Bison a bit undermanned here.
So Eugene Myatt hits the first 2 of the day, and the Bison with a quick 2-0 lead. Played just about 2 minutes here. Game 1 at the Palestra this afternoon. And the Bison coming up with a turnover.
Robert Morris likes to pound the basketball inside, but that time they forced it.
Nice job of dribbling there by White. Gives up down the lane. The running one-hander won't go for Smith, and it's coming back the other way.
And here's where Robert Morris wants to get out and transition and force the pace.
And a quick timeout taken by Robert Morris.
Now, Mike Rice not happy with this team's energy. Talking to him before the game, he said, here's where we've got to show if we've got some mental toughness. Coming out, making sure that we have energy. There's some energy from Mike Rice. You're going to get that intensity from him. One of the things about this Robert Morris team, very talented last year. A lot was expected of them, but they struggled in the NEC, finishing just 9-9, lost in the first round of the tournament. They've got the pieces, but they weren't playing with intensity. They've been playing with intensity and defending the basketball in the first 4 games under Mike Rice.
I spoke to a couple people behind me last night, and I said, it's always nice to know what the coach is thinking 10 rows back. You can hear Mike Rice exactly what's on his mind as he tells his team what he wants accomplished on the floor.
Yeah, you know exactly where you stand with Mike.
There's no doubt.
A terrific recruiter. They've already done a very good job of signing a couple guys early. Velton Jones, a fine guard out of Philadelphia, will be coming in as well. So he and his staff get after it on the recruiting trail, and they'll have to because they're going to have to replace a couple key seniors in Tony Lee and A.J. Jackson, 2 of the best guys to ever wear a Robert Morris uniform.
Absolutely. On the dribble here, Pateco Francisco giving it up. Lee finds Langhurst for a 3, and he's got it.
Langhurst runs your team, but he'll also make threes. And a terrific game against Seton Hall, 5 of 7 against the Pirates from beyond the 3-point line. One of the reasons why they almost pulled the upset.
I'm going to challenge our statistician, Dean Esposito. There's your first lead change of the day. Keep track of that. 3-2 our score. And there was another turnover.
And they responded coming out of the timeout. Little more energy for the Colonials.
Nice hang glide jumper. The tip won't go inside by Jackson. Gets it back and scores.
That's what A.J. Jackson does. The leader inside. Each of the last 2 years he's been their leading scorer and their leading rebounder.
And about 3/4 court pressure now put on by the Colonials.
And you can hear the bench, the noise. That's all coming from the Robert Morris bench. A lot more active and a lot more energy after that timeout.
Curtis White misses, rebound, and put back in.
Mike can score it in a lot of different ways. Had a good game last time out, their leading scorer in that loss to Loyola.
Langhurst going to swing it to the far side. We have a whistle. And a foul inside. They're going to call it on
Robert Morris, foul number
32, A.J. Jackson, his first. The senior pushing off away from the ball.
And in the early season, Jackson has found himself in foul trouble a couple times. But here he clears the space, keeps it alive. You see his strength to fight it, and able to finish inside.
5-4 lead for Robert Morris. The Bison have the basketball. Here comes Jerron Smith. Against pressure. Centered back out front. Kilpatrick tries to force inside, knocked out of bounds, so it stays here for the Bison.
For the Colonials, 14, Gary Wallace is in.
Got a substitution for the Colonials as Gary Wallace to check in.
A freshman from Seton Hall Prep steps in for Langhurst. Those 2 guys share minutes at the point guard spot.
Tipped on the inbounds, and here's the turnover. Tony Lee has it, back 2-on-2, tried to thread the needle with a bounce pass, almost threw it away. It goes back to Jackson, off glass, but a foul, and he'll go to the line for a pair.
But Tony Lee, when he's running in transition, he'll force some things at times, but he is a tremendous passer. See right here, as you said, trying to thread the needle, but he puts it right there. Chappelle just didn't make a clean catch, but smart enough to keep the play alive to find Jackson also hustling and running the floor.
First free throw is good for A.J. Averaging just around 17 points a game.
He's a real tough matchup, Mick, because he can take you inside. You've seen his strength and his ability to score it in the post, but he can also step out. A very good shooter from beyond the 3-point line.
And another turnover. That is the 5th now for Howard here early on. We're not even down to the 15-minute mark. Shot outside, no good. And the rebound for Kirkpatrick. Needs a little help. Fires it all the way to midcourt where Adam Walker will bring it up. Trying to post up Kirkpatrick inside.
Jackson doing a good job fronting the post, not allowing the basketball inside.
Threw into pressure and threw it away. 2-on-1. The defender falls. Layup good. Score it for Tony Lee.
This is the pace that the Colonials want to play at. They want to get out and create transition. That's why they stay up in the full court pressure.
Put the big man in the middle, Kirkpatrick. Although I don't think they want him dribbling the basketball. And there's they call. I thought we were going to call a reach. They call a travel. So a turnover. And we will get a timeout. But good defense turns into transition offense. And Robert Morris with a 9-4 lead over Howard.
Then don't forget about the conclusion of the independence bracket with 2 games. Then we'll take on Navy at 7 o'clock, followed by the finals between Virginia and Seton Hall.
The Kennedy ball boys and ball girls out
All
there.
right.
The Hoop Group would like to thank the following corporate partners for their continued support. Average Cheesesteaks,
Yeah, go ahead.
Berlin Bar, College Pursuit, Comcast Sportsnet, Holiday Inn,
All right, I will not.
and Sports Radio 950. Fans
Promo number 1.
Pocono Invitational Basketball Team.
I remember that show.
Young basketball players with a fun, instructional, rewarding experience. Pocono Invitational.
So score promo.
Instructional camp. For more information, visit us on the web at hoopgroup.com. Pocono Invitational campers today. Stars tomorrow.
Welcome back to first half action of the Philly Hoop Group Classic with Robert Morris leading Howard by a score of 9-4. Now don't forget, Mondays this fall, players only on Out of Bounds at 7. Scott Zolak, Ryan Mitchell, Ray Lucas, Gary Cobb, an all-pro team. They brought it on the field, now they'll take it out of bounds. That's Pro Night, Monday, Out of Bounds, right here on CN8 at 7 and 11. Of course, Greg Murphy, your host. And Greg coming up at halftime here at the Palestra this afternoon.
Do a great job of covering all the sports throughout our region. Fast-paced show. Tune in for an hour there, and you know exactly what's going on throughout the entire region.
Cover it all. Coming up on the 15-minute mark here, a 9-4 lead for Robert Morris.
They've gotten out to the lead with their defense. They've forced 7 early turnovers from Howard, including coming up with 5 steals with their pressure D.
A couple of subs in the ball game now for the Colonials. A.J. Jackson letting it go from outside, and he scores.
And there's the versatility we were talking about. Take you inside, the strength to finish in the post, but can also knock down the deep shot.
Makes it 11-4. Now the Bison have to answer on a few of these trips.
Exactly. You can't keep coming up empty or all of a sudden it becomes a run. You can't score if you can't hold on to the basketball.
And here's that transition offense off the steal again.
Yeah, 8 turnovers, too many here in the first 5.5 minutes.
Gary Wallace, the freshman, runs out front here. Came out of Seton Hall Prep, gives up a jumper on the way for 3. That's no good, and the offside rebound is controlled by Teron Smith. So Smith, nice dribble drive, goes into double team pressure, gives up a Kool-Aid, can't get at the ball. Up strong again, that's no good for Smith.
You got to finish that. All of a sudden, everybody went by him. He had the wide open look, 2 feet from the basket. You got to make baskets to stop runs.
The Wigway with a pass on the baseline, threw it away, and it's coming back for the Bison.
Robert Morris, number 4, Fred Harris, number 42, Tony Lee. 9 for Howard, number 0.
Mike Rice not happy with the turnover.
Eugene Lyon back in the ball.
And the Bison trying to stay close, down by 11-4. Curtis White checks back in for Howard. Torrance Timothy comes in as well, and he'll handle the ball out front. Pulled up the dribble in the backcourt, though. And Makule gives up. Good defense, though, to shut down a 15-foot opportunity. So White drives baseline. Defense getting to the baseline and cutting it off.
And you can see the energy, not just in the full court, but in the half court as well. And because of that defensive energy, they force yet another turnover. Howard with 9 turnovers here. Gil Jackson's team, who said a bit undermanned coming in, but you cannot stay in the ball game if you're going to turn it over at that type of pace.
Wallace looking for a cutter, and that is Lee. Comes off the screen, misses the short one, gets it back. Powers up inside. They're going to call foul or travel. They're going to call a foul. Oh no, they didn't call a travel. I thought he traveled, but I'm just waiting for that official to finally make the motion. 4th turnover now against Robert Morris.
Howard's got to be aggressive against the pressure defense. If you just get the ball over half court and you're content to do that, it's a lot easier to turn the screws of the pressure defense. You got to beat it for some baskets at the back end.
Nate Cooper dribbled off his foot. He was lucky to get it back. Gives up now for Curtis White. And Wigway all over him and forces a turnover. If it's picked off, Dallas Green gives up for Lee, and he lost it out of bounds.
A nice play by the sophomore, though, handling the basketball. Good look at Dallas Green. He's gotten off to a really good start here in this season. He's been a bright spot and a bit of a surprise for the Colonials. Hardly played last year, and you see his size and athleticism. You saw him handle the ball on the break. He's got a bright future. He could be a very good player in the Northeast Conference.
Got a whistle here, and they're going to call a foul, I believe, on
Robert Morris fouls on number 2.
Nizie Nwigwe. That'll be his first.
For the Bison, number 32, Nate Cooper is in the ballgame.
Nate Cooper checks back in,
And for Howard, number
as does
22,
Jerron Smith, but the foul on Nwigwe, again his first. Team foul number 2. Bison need to score on some of these trips. Get back in the game. Forcing a 3 outside, that's no good. And a rebound swept away by Gary Wallace.
Well, they've been stuck on 4 for forever.
Since 16:35 to be exact.
Well, not quite forever, but it seems like that.
Good power up inside, and that is Tony Lee. He now has 4 points in the ball game.
And when you describe it, Tony Lee, power's all about his game. He's a bull, a tank, able to score the basketball inside, a great rebounder for his size. How many times do you see a point guard go in and mix it up in the post as much as he does?
He's good at distributing as well.
Yep.
And here's the turnover. Dallas Green picks it up. Bounce pass, hits Lee, the trailer, back to Green. Short jumper off glass and good.
Well, see, heard you talking about how he distributes it. He's a stat stuffer. He'll score it, rebound it, distribute the basketball. He's the senior leader of this team.
And Gil Jackson has seen enough. He calls timeout as this game's starting to get away from the Bison at 15-4 with 11:37 to play here in our first half.
Well, after a slow start in the first 3 minutes when Mike Rice took a timeout and really got after his team to try and get some energy going. They've had energy on the defensive end, and that's allowed them to get out to this 11-point lead, and they've done it with their defense, as we said, forcing turnovers. And when they're able to force turnovers, they get out in transition. 11 first half turnovers for Howard have turned into some easy baskets at the other end for the Colonials.
Good finish, too. Ran the floor and also had good position to score the ball.
Well, Tony Lee's under control when he's coming up the floor.
Well, Gil Jackson, see if his little speech there lights a fire for the Bison as they're down 15-4 with 11:37 to play here in our first half. He told me his team needs to have more intensity night in and night out. He felt that has been a little bit of a problem, and they need that now. And a travel violation. What is that? 12 turnover now in the first half. We have a timeout. Robert Morris getting it done on the defensive end and scoring the ball as well. They lead it 15-4 over Howard here in the first half.
Now it's time for the Pocono Invitational Basketball Camp Shooting Contest. 2 teams will shoot from the foul line for 30 seconds. One with the most shots and a t-shirt courtesy of Pocono Invitational. Players, on your mark. Get set. Go! 15 seconds.
It's 12, I think.
Yeah, it's 12 now. That's not a good pace.
5, 4, 3, 2,
It's 40 turnovers. We're on a 40 turnover.
You're on a 40 pace right now.
How about a nice round of applause for tonight's contestants and Pocono Invitational Basketball Camp.
When you have 3 times as many turnovers as points,
Pocono Invitational,
it's not good.
Not going to get it done. Twenty.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome back. Robert Morris head coach Mike Rice in his first year, happy that his team responded after an early timeout when they lacked a little intensity. They have turned up the heat. Robert Morris with a 15-4 advantage with 11:27 to play in our first half.
Well, not only have they forced turnovers, but they've taken advantage of it at the other end. 10 points off turnovers for Robert Morris here in the early going.
Which means they really haven't had to run a half-court set yet. Langhurst will bring it up.
Howard gives you a different look defensively, going 1-3-1. Just trying to mix things up, see if they can't get something going.
Dallas Green finds
Nice
Lee
pass.
down low. Good basket and a foul for Tony Lee.
Against the 1-3-1, you have to have patience. You got to move the basketball, and by doing so, they get the ball into the high post to Dallas Green. We talked about a bright future for him. You see, he can handle the basketball. Here's good patience, good ball movement, and then the nice dump off from Green. And there's Tony Lee, the guard. Doesn't play like a guard in the post, does he?
Not at all.
Strength. He's a bull inside, takes advantage of it. Nice pump fake, very comfortable scoring the basketball inside.
Chance at a three-point play for Lee, and he's got it. He has 7 points here in the first half. Adam Walker will check back in.
And Lee's just a different player, Mick. You know, you think a guard's quick, sliding all over the floor. He is a powerful guard.
Yeah, power guard.
Yep.
That's the best way to describe him.
Absolutely.
He goes baseline to baseline against that 1-3-1. He could make a living down there. Jumper outside will not go for Curtis White, but we got a whistle, so hold on. Foul's going to be on Robert Morris, and Dallas Green, sophomore out of Indianapolis, will pick up the foul.
And Howard desperately needs some of those outside shots to start falling to get themselves back in this game. Still stuck on 4.
Don't want to go launching threes if you don't have to, but something has to fall. On the dribble. Here is Curtis White. Finds a man at the foul line. Jumper no good by Walker, but he is fouled.
Robert Morris foul on number 4.
So a chance at the free throw line for Adam Walker, where he hasn't had many attempts this season. Freshman out of New York City.
You look at this Howard roster, and they've got guys from all over the place. We talked about 2 guys from Pike High School in Indianapolis. They've got guys from D.C., California. And that's what you're going to get from Howard, a national university, terrific school academically. And they've signed a terrific player in the early signing period. Calvin Thompson, high school teammates of Greg Monroe, one of the top high school players in the country, will play at Georgetown. So they've got 2 guys coming up from Louisiana that will be in the nation's capital, and both are really excited. Obviously, Georgetown excited to get the best player in the country in Greg Monroe, and certainly Howard very excited with Calvin Thompson, who might be the best player that Howard signed in a long time.
You're probably right about that. Lee kicks it out front, jumper on the way, and good for Pateco Francisco for 3.
And that's what Francisco does, can come in and give you some scoring and a little bit explosion off the bench. He started as well throughout much of the season, the junior college transfer.
On the dribble here, we got a reach and foul out front against Tony Lee.
Robert Morris foul on number 42. Tony Lee is first. Team's
You talk about the stats of Tony Lee, a 1,000-point scorer and also a 500 rebounder. So he's got that power game like we've been saying all day. Great numbers.
Yeah, only 6 guys in the history of the Northeast Conference have put up those numbers across the board. Only one of them a junior. That's Tony Lee.
No, good follow here by Curtis White to get it to go. And White has an opportunity in a three-point play, so he can cut it to 21-9 with his made free throw. Foul was on Langhurst. And White a chance at a three-point play. Averaging around 5 points a game, and he's got this one. So 21-9, Robert Morris just inside the 10-minute mark here in our first half this afternoon. Francisco on the dribble. Gives up for Langhurst. And now we have a whistle. I think we're going to get a foul called against Francisco. Elbow away from the ball.
Legal screen. Another one of those points of emphasis. You got to make sure as you screen, you hold your ground and don't get those arms up.
Officials looking for that because we saw a lot of that last night as well.
Yeah, trying to clean up post play. Another steal by Tony Lee.
Gives up to Langhurst. Francisco spot number 3. Drains it.
Oh, nice play. Starts with the defense coming up, and then nice unselfish play. The pass by Lee, and then the kick out from Langhurst. That's the way to execute in transition.
Candy McCooley, the dribble across midcourt. And he stepped out of bounds. It's another turnover.
Well, we may have to change that stat up top. 15-0 points off turnover. Another opportunity here for Robert Morris as they force another turnover.
That would be number 14 against the Bison.
Ooh, that pace continues.
That's not a good pace.
Yeah, 14 turnovers in 11 minutes.
Gil Jackson continuing to make substitutions, trying to find somebody who's going to keep the basketball maybe for a full 35 seconds on a possession. A.J. Jackson gives up for Langhurst. Francisco off a screen, spots for a 3 and got it. You can see that coming.
Yep, nice action on that set. Diagonal screen to throw A.J. Jackson into the post, so you suck the defense in and then screen in for the open 3.
Francisco with 3 trifectas for his 9 points, 27-9. Adam Walker in a high trap area trying to center it back up. Terrence Timothy.
And here's the defensive ball pressure from Robert Morris. A little bit different look than last year. It was too easy for teams to score against them. Their field goal percentage defense, one of the worst in the Northeast Conference. That's one of the things that Mike Rice really harped on when he first got this job. We're going to get up and defend people. Spent a year at Pittsburgh. Nobody defends the basketball better, maybe across the country, than the Pitt Panthers. And Mike Rice has brought that defensive intensity, tried to instill that into his team.
Tell you what, they fell behind early yesterday against Drexel, but then outplayed Drexel defensively in that second half. If they would have had that intensity in the first half, it would have been playing at a different time today.
Yeah, but Drexel did a really good job of getting out and pressuring out on the wings and on the perimeter. And Mike Rice said in the post-game press conference, they just kind of jumped us. They got after us, got up in our grill defensively, and Bruiser's Flint team can do that. They always do that. I mean, Bruce teams come out and really guard you.
Yeah, we'll see them later today. Nice bounce pass inside, and that one may have been tipped from behind as Walker, or rather, Jackson couldn't get it to fall.
Yeah, but Walker coming across, coming up with the block shot. Good challenge defensively.
Lean in here off the heel of the rim, no good, and the rebound's controlled by Nwigwe, but we have a whistle. And they're going to call over the back on Teron Smith. That'll be team foul number 3. Teron Smith will walk to the other end. So Robert Morris has the basketball. Gary Wallace will bring it up. Product out of Montclair, New Jersey. Walker gives up on the wing for Wallace. Pound it down inside, jumper no good. They'll fight for the rebound and they'll kick it out here. Jumper for Francisco, no good for 3. Another big rebound inside by Jackson. Nwigwe said somebody hit his hand and no call. So Howard has the basketball down 27-10, and we have a holding foul out front. Anthony Thomas, the guilty party, and we will have a timeout. Robert Morris with a 27-10 lead over Howard in the first half. How many turnovers did they have? 14-6. 14-6.
seconds, gentlemen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got it. How about a nice round of applause for today's contestant, the second Pocono Invitational Basketball Camp. Campers today starts tomorrow. For more information on Pocono Invitational, go to hoopgroup.com.
Welcome back to the Palestra here at the Philly Hoop Group Classic. Robert Morris, the commanding 27-10 lead over Howard. Let's tell you why. Stealing the basketball, 14 turnovers, and here's some of them right here.
They don't have to look any further on the stat sheet than that. They're doing it with ball pressure. It all starts there and then closing down, getting out into passing lane, and converting once they do force the turnover. But it starts with that ball pressure. Quick hands by Tony Lee. Nice unselfish play to get it out to Langhurst, and then the kick out for the open look. Robert Morris coming up with steal after steal, forcing turnovers, and they've had a lot more energy on the defensive end.
I think that's what it all comes down to, the ability to get out and really defend their defense, basically fueling their offense here in this first half.
And that's how their team is built, to get out, put pressure on you, make sure it's difficult to score, and then try to get out and run. And they've converted, as we said, 16 points off those turnovers.
27-10, our score right now, 1-1 here for the Howard Bison. And Eugene Mayat makes his first. Got to get Mayat more involved in the offense. He only has 6 points right now in the first half.
As we said, their leading scorer averaging 20 points per game, had 17 last game out.
Got good touch. Just got to get him the ball. 27-12. Little three-quarter court pressure. They'll pick him up, man. Dallas Green in a high post. Gives up on the left wing. Will give and go to Green and blocked from behind out of bounds. Makule tipped it out.
Good recovery. Got pinned from behind, but able to make the play.
So Wallace to inbound. Comes right into Pateco Francisco.
Good patience not to force that shot.
Baseline drive here, up strong and in for Chappelle.
And that's what happens sometimes when you're patient. Instead of forcing a first shot deep, work things around, you get a better shot later in the possession.
We talked about Chappelle in our open ability to score the basketball, just his first two, but they haven't needed his offense so far here today.
He's been quiet here at the Palestra. Struggled yesterday, scoring just 4 points. 2 for 5 from the floor in that game against Drexel.
Another steal, and we got a foul here as going in strong was Gary Wallace, and they held on to his jersey to stop the layup. Foul's going to be on White. Just a little reaching from behind there by A.J. Jackson.
He gambled, and it paid off. Got to be careful, though. Jackson's had a propensity for picking up fouls in the early going. Can't play from behind in the post.
Nice entry pass, and we have a foul before the shot as Jackson never got it away.
Foul number 54, Paul Kirkpatrick. Robert Morris, number 23, Will Royal is in the ball.
Good bounce pass, though, on the entry.
Yep, if you're going to put the ball into the post, put it in on the floor. Gary Wallace, a very fundamentally sound player, was basically a two-guard wing in high school. Going to have to make that transition to be a point guard. Played for one of the top high school programs, not only in the state of New Jersey, but throughout our region, and for one of the best coaches in the country, Bob Farrell, longtime head coach at Seton Hall Prep.
How many All-Americans has he coached? Too many.
Yeah, a ton of good players. And, you know, when you're a college coach and you get a player from a solid high school program like that, you're getting a player who's a lot further along, understand what it takes to be successful at the college level. That's why college coaches always like when they can get a player from a successful high school program.
Players like Brandon and Brevin Knight, right?
Marcus Toniel and
sure.
Jamar Nutter, who we'll see later tonight for Seton Hall. So there are a ton of guys that have come through and have had good, solid college careers and beyond out of Seton Hall Prep.
Makule will go to the line, so Candy has a chance to knock one down here. With 6:07 to play in our first half, 29-12, Robert Morris out front. And the first one rolls in for Candy, who's originally from Brussels, now makes a home in Atlanta, Georgia.
Had a good game
Good
game against Penn in their win here, and also a double-double in the win against LaSalle with 17 points and 10 rebounds.
He's been averaging 8.5. Look out. Almost threw it behind Chappelle into the bench. Inside 6 minutes. Wallace trying to break down the defense.
Another nice entry feed into the post.
Good read, though, by Jerron Smith to come up with a steal. 7th turnover from Robert Morris.
Jackson a little late on the kick out. If he had swung that ball quicker, he would have had an open look.
Now here is White, baseline in no man's land, and they call a traveling violation. And he's going to plead his case, but not going to win the argument. That is the 16th turnover here in the first half. So White will walk back the other way. And now it is Wallace to bring it up. And they tell us that Dallas Green's going to play 2-guard right now. One of the bigger 2-guards you're going to see. Off the screen, Francisco makes the catch in traffic. I'm strong. Green there for the foul. Didn't go, but he was fouled. Nice foul on the offside.
You see the bounce of Dallas Green. He's long, he's quick. I really like his game.
I would almost describe that as effortless.
Yep.
Just barely seems like he just goes up and gets the ball.
Yeah, he's smooth, and look at his size as he stretches out. He'll get this one above the rim. Takes the contact, have an opportunity to finish it off at the line.
First one goes home.
As we said, barely played last year.
Just first point of the ball game.
Yep, only played 9 games, and even as a high school player, averaged a double-double, 10 points and 10 rebounds, but he's been a pleasant surprise for the Colonials here in the early going. Had a really good game against Seton Hall, going up against their bigs, John Garcia, who we saw last night with his 19 rebounds, but he certainly has done a good job.
Not as burly as the Dallas Green we know from Delaware, but the guy used to manage the Phillies. But I'm sure they call him the Big D, no doubt.
There you go.
30-14. In the high post to Makule. Squares up nice, puts it on the floor nice, drives and scores. That's one of the best plays that they've had all day.
Yeah, went and attacked, good defense, but able to finish it with a better offensive play. Nice drive to get it all the way to the backboard.
Lee pulls up the dribble, trying to give and go. It was tipped. A good hustle here by Walker to come down with it. Long lead pass ahead. Hang on to the basketball. Jumper on the way. Good. Score it for Eugene Myatt.
And one of the few transition baskets so far this afternoon for Howard. Able to rebound, run, get out, and find a quick basket.
Robert Morris going to sub 3 on the next horn. 4:21 to play in the first half, 30-16. Well, they've cut the lead in half. Green, baseline. Kind of elbowed his way into the block, and then it was rejected and out of bounds. Langhurst is in. Freddie Harris is in, along with A.J. Jackson. There's a good look at Langhurst, just off the bench. So Mike Rice changing him up. Torrance Timothy checking in late. There he is. Now look at the inbounds under the Robert Morris basket. Lee tripped and fell. They wanted to go his way, so the pass is picked off by White. White comes back, nice bounce pass, and a foul before the shot. Or are they going to give him 2 on the way up?
Doesn't matter, it's over the 10 foul bonus anyway.
Only a 2-shot foul. Fouls on Freddie Harris. Mike Rice I just put him in the game.
Good intensity.
I just put that guy in the game. And he fouls.
Working his sidelines. He wears it out there in front of the bench. One end to the other, back and forth the entire game.
Does he have a longer coach's box area than most coaches? Because I know that they're harping on that this year too, right?
Well, you've got the whole length of the bench, but you can't come past the old hash mark that's out on the floor. And I tell you what, the have been very consistent in enforcing that so far this year. Matter of fact, Mike Rice picked up a tee yesterday when he came out of the box at halftime. Right after the horn sounded, he came out onto the floor and picked up his first technical of his career.
Wow. 30-19. Langhurst, nice entry pass, one dribble, and a good block. The ball is loose, and now we got a foul as it's rebounded by Harris, and he will travel with the basketball. Well, Howard trying to make a comeback here as they're starting to fill it up. Good drive by McCooley. And then Myatt hitting from outside as well. They're making a run, 30-19, Robert Morris. Coming up next. All right, more college basketball. Loyola taking on Drexel. Coming up next right here on CNA. You got it. And you got it coming up at the half soon, too. So, yeah, I know you do. Now, I was reading your mind.
Come on, crowd, help them out.
Burley? I thought it was pretty good. That was a good one. Was a good one. No, he was from St. Joe. So you don't even remember. You know what? They love getting the free stuff.
There he goes. Congratulations. Enjoy your Palestra DVD and a Philly Hoop Group Classic t-shirt. Anaconda Sports and The Rock. Proud sponsors of the Philly Hoop Group Classic and the Hoop Group.
Like you've never shown a kid doing that. Welcome back here. 3:47 to play in our first half. Howard on an 11-3 run, climbing back in. They now trail 30-19 against Robert Morris. Now coming up next, right here on CN8, the Philly Hoop Group Classic. It's Loyola taking on Drexel. It's just around the corner. Game 2 of our quadruple header this afternoon and this evening right here on CN8.
Two of the top seniors from throughout our region. Frank Ellegar getting it done inside, and then Gerald Brown scoring it all over the place. One of the leading scorers in the country last year, 33 in their win yesterday against Gil Jackson's Howard team. Should be a very good matchup.
You know, over the last 4:15, Gil Jackson's team hasn't played that badly. Took them a while to get started, though.
Well, now starting to take care of the basketball a little bit. They've been stuck on 16 turnovers for a little while. They kicked it around throughout the beginning of the game, but now once they're starting to take care of the basketball, at least you're able to get shots up.
Nice running one-hander down the lane. It just didn't drop, but getting his own rebound inside is Myatt. Here's his shot. That's no good. And it is A.J. Jackson, the rebound. Langhurst in a hurry. Gives up for Lee to Langhurst. Thought about a three. Gives it up for Chappelle. That's a tough pass inside. And they call it off Howard, out of bounds.
So far coming out of the last time out, Robert Morris has nearly doubled up Howard as far as shot attempts. So they just can't quite get a handle on things.
The foot was on the line.
Couldn't come up with it cleanly and then stepped on the line. It's hard to win games when all of a sudden you look at the stat sheet and you're getting out. Shot 28 shot attempts for Robert Morris to just 14 of Howard because of all those turnovers.
Doubled them up in that category. Here is Lee. And no scorer with more than 9 points in the ball game. Shot clock's down to 7. First time I've seen it in single digits with Robert Morris for the basketball today. With 3 on the shot clock, Langhurst no good. Rebound inside, up strong, and the finish for Freddie Harris.
Well, just fighting with it long enough to be able to go finish in the paint.
Makes the score 32-19 with 2:43 to play. Curtis White handing off here to Myatt. They've done a nice job of clamping down on Myatt, not letting him get his shot. Now here's a reaching foul. That's going to be on Messier Nwigwe. They're getting good position inside by the Colonials.
Well, they're a good offensive rebounding team, and they've got a number of guys that can finish it inside in the paint. Freddie Harris, this 6'8" senior.
First free throw is good here by Adam Walker, freshman out of Mount Hermon, Massachusetts. And the Wigway with 3 fouls will go to the bench. Candy McCooley checks back in for the Bison. Adam Walker will take a seat. 2:29 to play here in the first half. 32-20. Howard looking for their 21st point, and they got it from the free throw line.
Important for Howard if they could get this lead down into single digits with as poorly as they played in the beginning of the game, turning the basketball over so much. That would certainly be very good for them.
That'll give themselves a chance in the second half.
Give us some confidence, say, hey, look, you know, we're in this ball game despite kicking it all over the court.
It took a long time to get settled down. Here is A.J. Jackson, turnaround, traveling violation. He shuffled the feet as he spun in a pivot. That's the 10th turnover. Now coming up at the half, Greg Murphy going to sit down with Bruiser Flint, the head coach of the Drexel Dragons. Rob will break down our first half. We'll have stats and highlights as well. It's all coming up at halftime, so join us for that. Right now, we have 2:08 to play in this first half. 32-21, Robert Morris has led throughout. A couple well-placed threes here will make this a whole different scenario, won't it? Trying to get it inside, forced it, and the steal. Freddie Harris back the other way, gives up, and the layup, score it for Tony Lee.
He got himself under control, allowed the defender to run by, and then finish strong.
Lee has 9 points. 1:38 to play, 34-21. Walker gives up for McCooley, bounce pass inside and score it for Curtis White.
Nice execution on the high-low, able to seal inside on the post. Good entry feed from the high post.
34-23. Langhurst spotting for a three. A little bit long, and a tip out of bounds. Tipped out, last touch by Francisco. So Howard will have the basketball. Big D, Dallas Green comes back in. Taking a look at the last Howard basket, like you're talking about high-low action from the high post.
As we said, good seal inside, nice feed. Get that nice action, you're posting up, you pin him, ball goes to the high post, nice high-low action.
1:08 to play here in our first half. Shot clock's at 25, don't want to rush the possession. Adam Walker out front with McCooley. Dump it inside, kick it back. McCooley for three, got it.
Now you were talking about how the three ball could get them back into the game. They've got it down into single digits. Important possession right here for Howard.
34-28. Gonna have a defensive stand here. It'll really change the tenor of this game. Langhurst working against White. Finds Lee. Nice pass inside for Green, and he scores.
When they need big plays, Tony Lee's the guy that makes it, whether he's scoring it or finding his teammates.
Big pass from Tony Lee. 19 seconds to go. Shot clock is turned off. Looking for the final shot, and timeout taken by Gil Jackson. He wants to set up the final shot with the final play.
He also wanted to make sure there wasn't a 5-second violation and another turnover.
We've been talking about Tony Lee all day long. Look at that pass.
Terrific. Over the head as he draws the two defenders and puts it right at Dallas Green. Right in his hands for him to just catch it and score quickly.
You know, some things you just can't teach. Nope. You got to have the sense for it, and Lee has it.
And a feel. You know, we always talk about he's got a good feel for the game, and that's exactly what we're talking about on that play. Draw the two defenders and put the basketball right where it needs to be.
What do you want to draw up here if you're Howard in the final 16 seconds?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you don't go too early. Too many times you see teams starting to attack at 10 seconds, get it down to 6, 7, 8 before you get into stuff to make sure that you don't allow Robert Morris the last shot of this first half.
Adam Walker will hold it out front.
And obviously, if you can get the ball in Myatt's hands, that's the guy you want to try and let him post up inside against Langhurst.
And he makes the catch, turn around from about 8 feet, no good with 3 seconds to go, and time's going to wind out here in the first half.
Well, they got the shot that they wanted, it just didn't fall, but if you're Howard, I think you got to be happy to go into the locker room with a 10-point lead. Mike Rice doesn't look so happy with that 10-point lead.
Well, it was like almost a 20-point lead earlier in the half. Now they've cut it down to 10. So the Howard Bison getting some good play from Myatt and company as they've cut down on the turnovers. Mike Rice's team has been working the baseline and also getting great passes and good first half from Tony Lee as well. And we're at halftime. Robert Morris with a 36-26 lead over Howard. Don't forget, Bruiser Flint with Greg Murphy coming up here at the half.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, he's here. How long are we to go on this? There he is. What's going on? That thing is, do we have the little thing for that? We're good. The little, hey, Ben, all right? Yeah, they want you to test your mic, Bruce, if you give them a count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good.
Good?
Good start.
Yeah,
Good
not
start
bad.
for you guys.
Not bad.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about game 2. Did you see any of this?
A little bit. Last 6 minutes or so.
If I have to, I might throw you a Robert Morris
Okay.
question just because you played them yesterday. And then we'll talk about the Philly Hoop Group Classic itself, the CAA. Now you start your CAA conference this week. Right?
Thursday, yeah. We play.
You get the easy guys.
Yeah, right.
That was a good win for them.
Yeah.
Just asking if you'll sit back, because then the lights will hit you square on. They're very particular in the truck. Some of your fans be out here, you think?
Yeah, there'll be some people here. It was a decent crowd yesterday.
Good.
For 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
game,
yeah. These tournaments are always,
Right.
Tony in the truck wants to know if you want to GM the Sixers.
Why, they $5 billion?
Not yet. Here we go. And welcome back to Philadelphia. We are at the Palestra. Robert Morris with a 10-point lead over Howard at the half. It was all Robert Morris early. Howard closes the gap at the break. Got ourselves a pretty good ball game, and I am very happy to welcome in the coach for the Drexel Dragons, who will be playing in game number 2, the championship round of the Liberty Bracket today in the Philly Hoop Classic. It's Bruiser Flint. CNA folks know him well. First of all, congratulations, Bruiser, on the win yesterday and a good start to this season.
So far, so good. It's been ugly at times, but the results have been pretty good.
4-1 so far to start this season. Now you get Loyola coming up on back-to-back games. In these kind of tournaments, playing back-to-back, I would imagine, it makes it challenging, but you're both going through the same thing.
Yeah, both going through the same thing. Difference is, we got a veteran team. It's a lot easier because they've been through it. They understand about what it takes to prepare. When you got a young team, I don't think they necessarily know what it takes to prepare to get ready for the next day. In terms of not just yourself, but what they look for in the other team and when we do for walkthroughs and how much you got to focus and concentrate.
You talk about the veteran team. This is a team that last year won 23 games, just missed that NCAA berth. Many people thought you should have gotten that berth. That is water under the bridge. What do you learn from that as you come back with that team intact, ready to battle that CAA conference schedule again?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that if we play well, we can win games. I think that's the attitude that you get. You bring it into your preseason. But we got a lot of guys that weren't part of that last year. So, some of the older guys, I know they use it for motivation. Hey, we got close last year, so let's try to get over the top. But we also got a lot of guys that play. They weren't part of it. They weren't even at Drexel. So I hope some of the older guys sort of lead the way by letting them know, look, this is what we have to do to be successful because we've had success in the past.
You were successful yesterday against this Robert Morris team that we're watching right now, and they're playing pretty well right now against Howard. Look ahead to Loyola for us in this game number 2. What do you guys need to do to stop the Greyhounds?
Well, if we turn the ball over 26 times like we did yesterday, we're going to be in trouble because it's a team that really presses you all over the floor. They live off their pressure, actually. That's how they score a lot of their baskets. We didn't take care of the ball as well yesterday. Didn't hurt us because we thought we played great defense. So we got to take care of the ball, hope that we can play the same type of defense, and we got ourselves a good chance.
You're a Philly guy, part of the Philly Hoop Classic, the first annual Philly Hoop Classic, and you've played many games as a player and as a coach here at the Palestra. What does it mean to be part of the first annual Philly Hoop Classic? So many Philadelphia guys both playing and coaching in this classic.
I mean, it's a great concept, I think. Every year, I know Rob talked about having at least 2 Philadelphia teams in it. And I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. I think people want to enjoy coming and seeing the basketball. What Rob, I think, has done, too, is try to keep us sort of local. So you got some Philly guys who come back to coach. You got a lot of local kids who play on the teams, so their families get a chance to come and see them. So I think this is a tournament that can stick around for a while.
And I'm gonna break a rule. I know you never look past the game that's right in front of you, but the CAA conference is going to start up right after this classic is over. For you guys, you start off with George Mason, a team that's already made a splash on the national scene. They were picked to finish first in your conference. As you look ahead to your conference schedule, the CAA seems to get better and better every year, and you guys are right there in the thick of it.
Yeah, the league the last 3 or 4 years has been fantastic. We're starting to get our due. I mean, when you can sit down and really argue that you just have a third team in the CAA and the NCAA tournament, and we somewhat did that the last 2 years. I think people are starting to see that we play pretty good basketball. It's a great league, good players, great coaching. So, and that's one reason why we've been able to sustain it over the years.
Bruiser Flint, always good to talk to you. Best of luck in game number 2 versus Loyola here. We appreciate it. Bruiser Flint, the head coach of the Drexel Dragons. We've got more college basketball coming up. Rob will break down the first half when we come back. Stay where you are. Bruiser, thanks so much.
All right,
that was
guys.
great.
Thanks, my man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Good luck.
That was nice of Howard to make a little run there, huh?
Yes. 16 turnovers.
Yeah. But they've been stuck on 16 for about 10 minutes. Here you go, Rob. Here's your pictures.
Go ahead, yep. Yep. Good. And then the conversion. Good. Yep. Yep, that's good.
That was a great play.
Yep, nice and selfish. Yeah, exactly. It's all been about turnovers and steals. It's amazing. It's amazing Howard's still in the game.
All right. Can I go over traffic real quick? Bump shot to a 2 shot or bump shot to a 1 and a pull? To a 2. So I'll introduce Rob right away. I'll ask him to comment quickly. Then I'll call for the breakdown segment. Okay. All right. So I'll just throw you a general comment to begin, and then we'll get into that package.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Who's always good because he's so easy to.
Yeah. You know what? Bobby obviously is great. I mean, we've had him on out of bounds a couple
Bobby,
times.
one question.
Yeah. Bobby, yeah, he's good. He's the only one that knows how to use the mic, too. Bruiser's user down here for that. I guess Sean was potting it up pretty high. Yeah, I was trying to kind of get him like this.
We'll work on it.
Welcome back to halftime. Robert Morris with a 10-point lead over Howard, 36-26 in our first game of a quadruple header here on CN8. It's the Philly Hoop Group Classic. I'm Greg Murphy, joined now by Rob Kennedy, who has joined me up top here at our perch at the Palestra. And Rob, it looked early on that Robert Morris was going to run away with this thing. Howard able to keep it closer.
Yeah, Howard making a little run at the end of the first half to get himself back into the game. They just turned the basketball over way too much in the first 10 minutes of that first half.
Yeah, that was the key to the first half. Let's take a look at Rob's breakdown, and really, it was the pressure defense. We just heard Bruiser Flint talk about all the turnovers they had yesterday. It's happening to Howard today.
Well, Robert Morris doing a terrific job defensively, collapsing into the post, getting their hands on basketballs, being active. The other key is to finish at the other end. It's one thing to create turnovers. It's another thing to score off them. They've been able to do both. Gary Wallace on a nice finish right there. And now sometimes it's just solid man-to-man, one-on-one defense. If you cross the ball over in front of Tony Lee, you're in trouble. Comes up with the steal, and then good unselfish play. He kicks it to Langhurst, who kicks it out to the wide-open shot for Francisco. He was effective in the first half, knocked down 3 threes. Just good, solid, all-around defense. As we said, though, it starts with the ball pressure. Good hands, coming up with something, and then finishing at the other end. And the guy that was involved in most of those finishes, whether he's scoring it or getting it to other players, was Tony Lee, doing a good job on runouts throughout that first half.
16 turnovers, but Howard turns it around, able to get back in this game. So we've got ourselves a second half, Rob Kennedy. When we come back, Rob will join Mick Moninghoff, take a look at the first half stats and some highlights as well. 36-26, stay where you are.
I'm up. Rob will be here in about 10 seconds.
To me first, guys. Yep, you got it. Welcome back to Philadelphia, 36-26. Robert Morris with a 10-point halftime lead in game number 1. I'm Greg Murphy. Welcome back to the Palestra. Let's go down courtside now to Mick Moninghoff and Rob Kennedy with some first half stats and some highlights. Guys?
All right. Thank you very much, Murph. Let's take a look at our leading scores in this first half, brought to you by The Rock. And the Rock was falling for Robert Morris early, getting a lot of those points off turnovers, no doubt. But you've had Francisco Harris, who was knocking them down early. No question about that.
Making some threes, doing a terrific job. Tony Lee was all over there in the first half. Both those guys were their leading scorers with 9 points each. We said Robert Morris getting a lot done. It starts with Tony Lee, and then Francisco knocking down deep threes. He had 3 threes in that first half, all 9 of his points from beyond the arc. And then Eugene Myatt, we thought he'd be the leading scorer and the key player for Howard coming in, and he was in the first half. He was their leading scorer with 9.
Take a look at the other scores. You have 2 players with 9, Francisco and Lee, each hitting that number for Robert Morris for the 36-26 halftime lead. And those highlights brought to you by The Rock, the new standard by which all basketballs are measured. We'll take a timeout, come right back to the Palestra. A 10-point lead for Robert Morris over Howard. The Philly Hoop Group Classic is brought to you by Eastern Invitational Basketball. The Philly Hoop Group Classic is brought to you by Eastern Invitational Basketball Clinic, the nation's number. The Philly Hoop Group Classic is brought to you by Eastern Invitational Basketball Clinic, the nation's #1 exposure camp. Eastern Invitational, where stars are born. By Anaconda Sports. For all your sporting good needs, visit anacondasports.com. By Reebok, I am what I am. And by the Hoop Group, dedicated to fulfilling dreams. For more information on camps, clinics, tournaments, and more, log on to hoopgroup.com. And here's our first half stats brought to you by the Hoop Group. And you'll see that, well, rebounds weren't really the factor. It was the turnovers in the first half and the points off turnovers.
Absolutely. Forcing the turnovers and converting at the other end. 22 points off turnovers. That's why Robert Morris has the 10-point lead.
And remember, fans, for everything hoops, log on to hoopgroup.com. So we are ready for the start of the second half as Robert Morris comes out with a 10-point advantage. And they'll have the basketball to start the second 20 minutes.
Remember, Howard got themselves back into the game with a run there at the end of that first half. It's very important for the Bison to come out and get after it early on with some good energy, try to cut back into this 10-point lead.
Again, Howard wearing the road blue, Robert Morris in the home white. Jumper outside here, all net. Short for Jeremy Chappelle.
Foot on the line, so it's a 2-point shot, but if you're Robert Morris, that's what you want to do. You want to make sure you don't allow Howard to get off the mat and back into the game as they did at the end of that first half.
Strike early and often. Almost a turnover. I think it was last touch, though, by Robert Morris. So they'll have the basketball. Howard going to make a quick substitution as Torrance Timothy checks into the ball game. There he is. He'll handle it out front. Nate Cooper put it on the floor, almost lost it.
And there's that ball pressure again. Every time Howard catches the basketball, there's a white jersey right on top of him.
Cooper backs in, turnaround, fade away, got it.
A tough shot over the defense, stepping in. That's a good finish. You can see why Myatt's their leading scorer, one of the best players in the MEAC.
38-28. Posting up inside and give the basket to A.J. Jackson.
Great execution. Swing the ball from one side to the other. Jackson with the solid post and seal inside for the easy two.
Good job by the Colonials to take away the guards. And Howard finally getting it up the floor. McCooley stripped as he got into the paint.
Had another turnover.
Langhurst on the run. I'll kick it back. Long jumpers, good.
That's why Jackson, a preseason selection to once again be on an all-NEC team because of his versatility. Scores it inside, and then here you go on the break. He's trailing, comfortable, stepping up and knocking down a three.
43-28, just like that. And we have a timeout taken by Howard. We'll take a timeout as well. 43-28, 18-16, just underway here in the second half.
Actors Cheesesteaks, proud sponsor of the Philly Hoop Group Classic. Actors Cheesesteaks located at 38th and Chestnut Streets here in University City.
Okay.
They're both A.J. Jackson, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Welcome back to the Philly Hoop Group Classic here at the Palestra. Just underway in the second half, and Robert Morris coming out on fire to start the second 20 minutes in the person of A.J. Jackson.
He's the leading scorer and rebounder on the team each of the last 2 seasons, and it's his versatility, one of the reasons why he's been an all-NEC selection each of those last 2 years. Post you up inside, but also trail on the break. Nice form stepping right into that shot. A.J. Jackson, a lot expected of he and Tony Lee as seniors. Hey, there's a little fan.
A little fan?
Yeah, a little Sean Kennedy crawling around. Kennedy kids all over the place today. Oh, there's his dad.
A gym rat, just like you.
He's got no choice in that matter.
Howard with the basketball, down 43-28. Give it up here, and a 3 on the way. A little bit long, no good for Torrance Timothy. And here comes Langhurst in a hurry over midcourt. Gives up for Chappelle. Oh, went off a defender's leg, and that play had derailment written all over.
Survived the first bad pass, didn't turn it over, but nonetheless turned it over once they came up with it.
So Howard will bring it up. Going to try to get back in possession by possession. Bounce pass in the low post. Nice entry.
Yep. Good interior pass.
Eugene Myatt gets the goal on a good pass from Adam Walker.
Yeah, Walker's the guy that made that play.
Tony Lee going to set up the offense.
Tough matchup for Walker on the perimeter.
Gives up here for Francisco. Off the screen. Lee, good first step into the paint. Kicks it out for the 3 ball on the way. Just a little bit long, no good on the rebound. Swept away by Myatt. See if Myatt really gets into gear here in half number 2. They need his scoring. Off the dribble. Going to hold a holding foul out front as Curtis White put it on the floor.
Robert Morris found on number 12, Jimmy Langhurst, his second.
Langhurst to pick up number 2.
For the Colonials, number 24, Dallas Green is back.
Dallas Green checks back in as A.J. Jackson, after a couple quick hoops, will take a seat. Langhurst going to join him on the bench. Gary Wallace comes on in. 16:54 on the clock and a 43-30 lead. Down the lane, that ball is tipped. Last touch by Robert Morris. So Howard still has possession. A lot of subs coming in now for Robert Morris as Freddie Harris re-enters the ball game. Ron Smith making his way back in for Howard. So finally, all the subs are in. We're ready to start play again. Adam Walker. Working against Harris.
Even the Robert Morris bigs putting ball pressure out on the perimeter.
Walker looking like a guard. Against a double team split. Wild shot, no good by Thomas, and it's coming back the other way. Chappelle gives up for Francisco. Now Chappelle gets it back and launches the 3 and scores.
And you can see his athleticism. Some guys able to rise over top and knock down deep shots. Chappelle certainly has the ability to do that.
Walker gives up for Thomas. Myatt deep in a corner. Well, beats 2 defenders, takes it to the paint, kicks it out front for White for a 3, and it rims out.
Howard really needed that bucket right there. Got to make some threes to get themselves back in this ball game.
And we have a timeout. 15:58 to play in the second half. 46-30. Robert Morris leading Howard.
Lucky contestant will have 30 seconds to make a layup or foul shot, a three-pointer. Finally, a half-court shot. He'll win a Palestra, the cathedral of college basketball.
Coming up tonight, you got Navy taking on Penn, Seton Hall taking on Virginia.
T-shirt for a main three-pointer. He makes 4 more shots. See free admission to Invitational Philadelphia South 100 tonight. Are you ready?
Yeah, they sound fine. Thank you.
I like that, man. Versatility.
There you go. Called your son a gym rat.
That is great. I almost stumbled. Now, which kid was that again?
3, 2, 1.
Thanks.
Good try. Congratulations.
30 seconds.
You've won a number of prizes. The Lester DVD, invitation jersey, and a t-shirt. For more information about Eastern Invitational, visit hoopgroup.com. Eastern Invitational, where stars are born. All fans can purchase a DVD of the Palestra Cathedral of College Basketball in the front main lobby.
Back at the Palestra, great family entertainment. If you're taking in the Philly Hoop Group Classic right now in the second half, Robert Morris with a lead over Howard, 40-36. Coming up tonight, right here on CN8, Navy takes on Penn, a 7 o'clock game. Then at 9, Seton Hall and Virginia, the Philly Hoops Classic doubleheader right here tonight on CN8. Both of those teams won last night.
Yeah, it should be a very good matchup. Two good matchups. Penn and Navy, two evenly matched teams. And then Seton Hall and Virginia, two undefeated teams. Virginia Cavaliers ranked 23rd in the country. Good matchup early on in the early season. Big East versus ACC should be a good one.
Absolutely. Back the other way, a little pushing and shoving inside.
Howard fouls on number 33.
Going to get a foul on Eugene Maya. It'll be his first. So Robert Morris to inbound under their own basket. Tony Lee. Giving up here for Dallas Green and getting it back. Lee spins in the paint. Got a little too far underneath. Got his own rebound and somehow got it out of there. He puts it back up again. That was a little short.
He's a different player inside in the post. Not too many guards that can go into the post and be as comfortable as he is down there. Whoops.
Oh, a little NBA move there.
Well, both teams getting away with maybe a little extra step on each of those last two possessions.
Thought I was in Denver for a moment. Jumper is good from outside by Chappelle. That'll be his 9th point.
Chappelle would be very comfortable playing that Doug Moe style with the Nuggets going up and down, a little wild.
They take about 9 steps to that league, though. Howard with the basketball, White, and we have a holding foul out front. That'll be a foul
Robert Morris fouls on number 14.
on Gary Wallace, his first person. Team foul number 2 for Mike Rice's club. Mezier Nwigwe checking in. On the drive here. Going to Timothy, giving up for Mayat. Seeing a little bit different. More of a matchup than anything else right now. Jumper to the corner. No good here by Thomas.
Can't find the range from beyond the three-point line. 1 of 8 from beyond the arc so far for Howard.
How about Tony Lee putting on one of those moves?
Stretching out to the 20-point lead, their largest of the game.
That was the prettiest move I've seen today. Down the lane here. Walker gets it to go.
Got himself deep into the lane. He's got good size to elevate over top of the defense and put it against the board. Give it a chance. Throw it on the glass.
50-32, Robert Morris with 13:53 to play. Green giving up here for Wallace. Jumper on the way for Harris. That's no good. Green the rebound, tried to save it. Out of bounds. And Howard will have the basketball. Take a look at this one. I think I'll pass behind my ear. No, I'm going to take it myself.
Back over the top. As we said, he's a unique player in his size. Tank for a guard. Gets himself deep into the lane. There's the fake pass and then the step through and over the head. You're right. That was a nice finish in there, Mick.
Tony Lee putting on a clinic. He's done it inside, outside, stealing the basketball, running the floor, distributing. complete package.
And that's what he is. He's a complete package, a stat stuffer, give you a little bit of everything. But most important, that senior leadership, that toughness, and he wills plays. When they need big plays, that's the guy that they turn to.
Wigway will pick up personal foul number 4, and he will exit, enter Mateko Francisco in his place. On the inbounds, Thomas steps back behind the arc, lets it go for 3, no good. Tipped out of bounds. Last touch by the Colonials, and the Bison still have it.
Stuck on 1 from beyond the 3. They've not been able to find the range from deep. They struggled from beyond the 3 yesterday against Loyola. Couldn't find the range against them either. Just 2 of 13 from beyond the 3 yesterday.
That time they try to force the pass from block the block, and it goes out of bounds. Yeah, I think it's a mentality. When you get in the block, you got to shoot. You know, in the paint, it's going up.
Yeah, be confident. Don't be worrying about finding other people.
And worst that can happen is draw a foul. 50-32. Just like that. Inside, posted up and score the goal for Tony Lee.
Yeah, no question. See how quickly he caught it, turned. He wasn't thinking about anything except powering up.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Howard just 1 of 9 beyond the arc. See if they go to that strategy here as they're falling. Oh, that's a foul right near the eye. Jerron Smith took 1.
Robert Morris, foul number 5, Mateko Francisco.
Negative sub for Smith.
Howard number 11, marks Timothy Daggy, replacing Curtis White.
Another look one. Oh, yeah.
Yep, poked him in the eye.
That feels a lot worse than it looks. On the dribble, hold out front.
Robert Morris, foul is on number 14.
You want to get up and put ball pressure, but you got to make sure you get your hands off.
The Colonials, number 21,
Get your hands out there, and you're getting a hand on somebody. You're going to get that hand check call. 16 fouls already here in the early going for Robert Morris.
And it's easy to get sloppy when you have a big lead. And that's one of the things I think that Mike Rice is going to tell his team to guard against here as we still have 12:39 to play.
As a coach, you're happy that your team's being aggressive, getting up and being physical, but you've got to play that way without fouling as well.
Right. Don't need all the hand checks. Bison with the basketball, down 52-32, so 20-point advantage right now for the Colonials. In the corner, jumper on the way for 3. That's no good by Iram. Rebound, turnaround on the way, no good, but a foul, and going to the line will be Chappelle, or rather, not Chappelle, Thomas. Thomas will go to the line.
One of those interesting things, Mick, when Howard came in and won their game in the Palestra against Penn, they shot the ball extremely well from beyond the 3-point line, almost as if Gil Jackson said, hey, I'm so used to this place for 16 years, feel comfortable in here. They really shot the ball well from beyond the 3, 12 of 22 in that game. But here in their 2 games this weekend, they have not been able to find the range from deep.
Adam Walker will check back in. Myatt takes a seat. Here is Thomas at the line. Baltimore native. Can't get it to go as it drops out. And the rebound falls right in the hands of Francisco, who goes coast to coast. He is pushed on the floor, no shot.
See his speed, though. Not only can he knock down threes and stretch out the defense, but he's very quick with the basketball.
Well, Coach Rice now needs to see his team execute on the inbounds, and they almost did. We got a pretty good look there, but it would not drop for Chappelle.
They got a wide open look, good execution, setting the screen to free himself up off the baseline out of bounds. Just missed the easy shot.
And mishandling the basketball, the Bison, it was tipped, so no backcourt violation, and Walker will try to bring it up once again on the drive, and that time there is a foul out front. We have a timeout. Robert Morris with a 52-32 lead over Howard with 11:50 to play here in the second half. We're coming back. Going off again. Here he goes.
Yep. Oh, yes.
I still like that bucket from Tony Lee. Almost as good as the popcorn here at the Palestra. 52-32, Robert Morris leads Howard with 11:50 to play here in the second half. Welcome back to the Palestra here for the Philly Hoop Group Classic. I'm Mick Moddinghoff along with Rob Kennedy and Greg Murphy, as we'll hear from Greg coming up in between games and all the interviews and flavor of the event. He's been doing a great job of that over the last couple days, and it will continue. And there's Mr. Lee. It's been his show here in the second half this afternoon.
Bit of everything. As you said, the total package, scoring the basketball, rebounding, getting his teammates involved.
Mike Rice is still working the official, leaving on the free throw at the other end. He's entertaining.
Yep, works the sideline, and his team has his energy. I mean, this is a different team than you saw from Robert Morris last year. Mark Schmidt, last year's head coach, moving on to St. Bonaventure. And I tell you what, he left a lot of good players, including that guy right there, Tony Lee. A lot of times when you're an assistant coach and get your first opportunity to be a head coach, you step into a situation where there aren't that many good players left. That wasn't the case. There are a lot of good players here for Robert Morris, and Mike Rice has gotten them to play with a little bit more intensity on the defensive end. One of the reasons why they're off to the good start this year.
And with a win today, they'll go back over 500 at 3-2. Good pressure on the ball in the corner. A three did not hit iron, and the rebound on the far side for Will Royal, who's into the ball game now.
Will Royal saw his first action here yesterday. Missed the first 14 days of practice, so taking him a while to get into the flow, but they're very high on him. He's a big body, good athlete inside. They expect him to be a solid contributor as the season wears on.
Now Lee resets it with 13 on the shot clock, dumps it down low, and easy basket for A.J. Jackson.
I like that catch. Well, it wasn't an easy catch, but then with that terrific catch, it became an easy bucket.
I'll reclassify that. He made it look easy.
That's
How
right.
That? And a foul out front. We're going to get 1-and-1 here coming up. The foul's on A.J. Jackson. That'll be his second personal. 22 career double-doubles coming into the tournament action here for A.J. Jackson. He picks up a foul. He's known one of those players that, like you say, the cupboard was not bare for Coach Rice.
No, absolutely not. You get the two seniors and Tony Lee, along with A.J. Jackson, and then Jeremy Chappelle, who was the Rookie of the Year 2 years ago in the NEC. That's a solid nucleus to build around.
Langhurst gives up, gets it back, has a man off the screen, jumper on the way, a little bit short there for Chappelle. And the Bison control the rebound.
And even two guys that didn't see a lot of action last year, and Langhurst as well as Dallas Green, they've been a very pleasant surprise. They've both stepped up into a more prominent role this year and have delivered.
Jumper on the way here, good. Scored a three-point goal for Candy McCooley. That was his 10th point of the ball game.
And just the second three on the game for Howard. Good extra pass, able to stretch out over top of the D.
Langhurst sets him up. On the far side for Chappelle, gives it back, and long jumper, good by Nwigwe.
Yeah, tough shot, defense running at him, but able to finish over the top.
57-35. We're under 10 minutes and 9:45 to play. So Robert Morris continuing to control the ball game here in the second half.
Remember, we had mentioned in the first half that Howard a little undermanned here tonight. Randy Hampton injuring his hand yesterday. He's out. As well, Kyle Riley, who's been one of the better players all season long for Gil Jackson. He's out with the ankle injury.
Dominic Davis is out as well. 20 turnovers now for Howard.
So Gil said, hey, before the game, we're going to play a lot of guys, some different guys, and an opportunity for people to play some more minutes and see what they can do. Get in the early season, you don't get a whole lot of rest in between games. They've got Navy on Tuesday and then in the Garden on Saturday as part of the Big Apple Classic, and it's a league game against Hampton. Hampton off to a very good start, so that's a very important game. And, you know, hey, how about Howard? You get to play here in the Palestra, arguably, you know, one of the great venues of college basketball, and then you go to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena.
Well, you talk about the Palestra. It seats just under 9,000. It will fill up more and more for each game that'll come to a climax tonight. We have teams like Seton Hall and Virginia, 2 undefeateds, going head-to-head right here in the Philly Hoop Group Classic.
Yeah, good game, and that looking forward to that one.
Oh, yeah.
Seton Hall with a, you know, they've found ways to win games, but if they can get themselves going, they'll have their hands full, obviously, with Sean Singletary, the All-American guard, and his homecoming back to Philadelphia.
Nice reverse layup on the baseline, will not go for Nwigwe. Howard will bring it up inside 9 minutes, trailing 57-35. Adam Walker posting up. Kicks it back, playing the 2-man game.
Yeah, playing a little inside out.
And he gets it to go.
Well, you repost if you're unselfish with the basketball in the post. Kick it back out to guys as you repost. Now you've got better position.
Yeah, why force it? You don't have to.
It's amazing how many good things happen when you share the basketball.
Absolutely. Robert Morris in control. On the baseline drive, go back to Nwigwe. He'll let it go again, no good. And the rebound swept away by McCooley inside.
Never got his feet set on that, was off bounds.
One dribble, kicking it back, goes right through the legs of White, picked up, back the other way, layup, and the jam.
There's the athleticism of Chappelle. He'll finish out on the break with authority.
He's got 11. 59-37.
He had a thunderous alley-oop dunk in overtime against Seton Hall, going up above everybody. Ended up being a 3-point play. One of the most athletic dunks I've seen this season.
Got a hold inside here. We will take a timeout. 59-37, and throwing one down, Jeremy Chappelle. Robert Morris in control with 7:37 to play.
Listen to Sports Radio 950 for the most complete college basketball coverage in the city.
Who's the guy that had one last night? I was going to reference it, but I don't remember the name.
Oh, Will Harris. Had
Will
one.
Harris. That was pretty good, too.
That was good. I mean, Chappelle's, it was like a 3/4 court pass in transition. Tony Lee threw the pass. How he threw the pass, I have no idea. I mean, you know, and then he went and got it.
Yeah.
It was a 3-point play. Big.
Okay.
Now it's time to make some noise. Who wants a t-shirt? A lot of fans get a free t-shirt courtesy.
Score and
of Sports
promo?
Radio 950.
Okay, thank you. First of 4 from the Palestra today. 7:37 to play. Robert Morris leading Howard 59-37. And here's a reminder, you can see a replay of our games on demand. Now, if you've got Comcast Digital Cable, you've got on demand. You'll find most CNA college basketball telecasts available in the Get Local folder for up to 1 week after each game. Great feature to have.
Yep, nice opportunity. You know, if you miss the game live, you get a chance to go back and get it.
If you want to see that dunk by Chappelle again, you can always rewind. There you go.
They won by Will Harris last night.
Oh, that was a good one.
In transition for the Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah, that game was entertaining. You know, Navy playing really well against Seton Hall as well.
Yep, and that should be a good matchup. Penn here in their home gym going up against Navy. Evenly matched game there. Should be a good one in our next game. Loyola, a team that'll get up and down the floor and try and create tempo against the solid man-to-man physical defense against Drexel. So contrasting styles in our next ball game.
A rare errant pass brings the coach up off the bench just ever so a little bit.
They've taken care of the basketball in the first half, has Robert Morris. Now 14 turnovers, but most of those in the first half.
So Howard with the basketball. With Myatt's last free throws, he's got 15. I'd call that a very quiet 15 from him today.
Yep. But again, he's done his part scoring the basketball, just hasn't been able to get enough compliment from other guys.
Absolutely. And on the entry pass, they maybe forced it to him a little bit there, and it's turned over.
That's nearly half his team's points.
So 22nd turnover of the ball game for Howard. 59-39, 20-point advantage to lead the ball for the team in white. Alley-oop, kinda, on the baseline, and caught once by Walker. A strip as it was Green going up with it, and it's coming back the other way.
Now that's part of his game that he's got to work on, building that upper body strength, talking about Dallas Green. If he does that, boy, he could be a force in the NEC.
Myatt forced for a nice leaping rebound for Jerron Smith on the follow.
And credit Howard hustling, even though they're down big, playing through.
6:40 to play. There's the pass, and Walker scores. Give the assist to Newigway.
And he's the guy that made the play, drawing the defender, and then the nice catch and finish. Jackson's got good hands. You put the ball near him, he goes and he gets it. Seen him make a couple of nice catches in traffic over top, as well as on the run.
He's got 15 points today. Jumper on the way here. A little bit short for Myatt. Lee runs it up. Out of bounds. It was not handled by Dallas Green.
Robert Morris, number 21.
So Chappelle will check back in for the Colonials.
Placing Dallas Green.
Green will come out. 6 minutes to play in the ball game. 61-41. Jerron Smith, nice entry pass. One dribble, up strong, semi-hook. No good, though, by Walker. Not a bad shot if you can get it to go. Nice entry. Oh, yeah. Newigway with a perfect pass. And score it for Tony Lee.
And how comfortable is he on the baseline? Just kind of hiding in there. If you're a guard, you're out looking on the perimeter. Where's my man? Well, he's under the bucket. He's about to score on you again. You better find him.
And that says a lot about Lee's ability to move without the ball as well. You know, a lot of the times a guard will just stand out front, make the pass, but, you know, Lee, he's moving all the time. And there he is. He's calling for it.
Yep. And when he steps in, he's going to finish in there. Even if you rotate over, he's got that upper body strength to kind of jump into you, knock you over. Nobody's there. Catch, quick turn, and he's going to power up, then head the ball to finish the play.
You know, how many players don't work on getting open?
Yep. And also how many guards work on scoring a basketball in the post to be a complete player. Here's a guy that played inside at times in high school, had a tremendous high school career, one of the best high school programs in Massachusetts at Charlestown, won a couple state championships. And we talked earlier about, you know, when you've got guys that come from winning programs and great high school programs, as we see Drexel waiting to come on. There's Jeff Arnold, assistant coach, and some of the players getting ready for our next game up, and they'll take on Loyola.
That could be a very interesting ball game. Both teams with 4 wins already this year.
Yep, and contrasting styles. You've got a Loyola team that presses, tries to get things going, want to go up-tempo with one of the best scorers in the country in Gerald Brown. And then you've got the great, solid, physical man-to-man defense from Drexel.
Now coming up next, like you say, the Loyola Greyhounds and the Drexel Dragons. Game number 204 from the Palestra here, the Philly Hoop Group Classic on CN8. And Mezier Nwigwe taking a page out of the Tony Lee book as he cuts down low, scores, and goes to the line for a 3-point play and has it.
Robert Morris, number 23, Will Royal back in.
Largest lead of the game, 66-41 for Robert Morris.
Good solid effort from A.J. Jackson, and Will Royal with an opportunity to get some more playing time here. Played 12 minutes in the loss yesterday to Drexel. His first action of the season. First extended action of the season.
Coming up on a 5-minute mark. 66-41 for Robert Morris. Goes back to 500. We'll win here today. Low post. Kick it back, and jumper on the way for 3. No good by White. Good rebound inside, however, by Walker. Fresh 35. Swing for McCooley. Lets it go. Ooh, look out. Just barely caught the board.
Looked good leaving his hand. Didn't look good when it finished.
Had no curve to it. Inside, Nwigwe has it sent back by Adam Walker.
Good defensive recovery. Good cut. Moving without the basketball. Colonials have been sharp.
Good.
Tony Lee looks like he's caught in traffic. A little behind the back to get things going on the other side. Good defensive rotation right there by Walker to punch it out of bounds.
4.5 to play. Nwigwe. Spin dribble, baseline, gives up, shot on the way, and score it for Royal. Will Royal from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. 68-41. In the paint, up strong, Mayat, good basket, and a foul.
Well, he continues to deliver, scoring the basketball. This time he was able to get himself into the middle of the lane. And once he does, he's able to finish, face up, put the ball to the floor, fight through the contact, slap down there. You got to move your feet instead of reach.
He's got 17 points, looking for 18 today. Averages about 20, so he's 2 away from that. 68-44 with 4:05 to play. In the backcourt, Wallace gives up. Nwigwe, jumper from 15. A little bit strong, and a loose ball foul and a rebound as it's taken down by Jerron Smith. We have a timeout after the foul. 3:52 to play. Robert Morris with a 68-44 advantage.
Okay, now it's time for our Pocono Invitational Big Close Contest. Each child will start at the baseline. When I say go, they'll sprint to the jersey, put it on, then do the same knee shorts, then the shoes. Finally, the first player to dribble in and score a basket will get a free t-shirt courtesy of Pocono Invitational. Are we ready? Get set, go!
Promo 6 later tonight. Okay. The 5 p.m. Nancy Kerrigan's Wordle skating. Got the one, Tony? Nancy Kerrigan. Okay. Back here at the Palestra, 3:52 to play. Robert Morris in command, 68-44 over Howard. Robert Morris looking to go 3-2 on the season.
Opened the season with a win at home against Iona, went on the road for a win at Navy, and a good start to the season for Robert Morris. Next up, they'll head down to Florida, play in Miami down at Florida International on Thursday. Looks like the day is done for Tony Lee. Good, solid, all-around game.
Absolutely. Here at the free throw line. First free throw no good by Jerron Smith. It's about a 60% free throw shooter. Next one, no good. Rebound though inside, semi-hook, does not go. Tipped up, gets another chance. That's no good, and tipped up and in by Smith. So after 2 misses by Walker, Smith gets the tip in.
Good effort by the Bison to stay after it on the offensive board.
With the catch, Mateko Francisco. Messier Nwigwe works out front.
There's where you want to be patient offensively, run through things. If you got a good shot, fine. If not, don't force things.
Good ball movement, and a 3 on the way. No good there by Francisco. But a fresh 35 is coming up with the ball is Wallace.
But a good, solid possession. As you protect leads, you got to make sure that you don't take quick shots. That got them in trouble against Seton Hall. This was a Robert Morris team that was up 23 points at Seton Hall in the second half, but a couple quick shots allowed Seton Hall to get on a run, and the Pirates eventually able to win that one in a wild one in overtime, 111-107. It's a lot of points. I guarantee you one thing, that'll stay as the combined scoring record, I would think, for a while.
I think you're
the
right.
Philly Hoop Group Classic, you know, when you look at those tournament history pages they have in game programs, I suspect that one will be up there for a while.
11 points for Nwigwe with the layup there. You're probably right. Once you get over 200, it's
cheesesteaks on both sides if they were here in the Palestra. Abner's would have had a run on them that day.
Hey, there's a 3 outside by Smith. Makes the score 70-49.
You take a look at this Robert Morris team preseason. The coaches in the NEC expected a lot from this Colonial team. They were preseason picked to finish in second behind Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart's gotten off to a bit of a rough start in the early going, but we've seen what Robert Morris can do. Monmouth with a couple big wins. They were down in the Virgin Islands with a win against Wichita State, and then backed it up with a win against Charlotte. The Monmouth Hawks took Seton Hall into overtime in their first game, so it looks like the NEC could be an interesting race.
Teams trading layups. Good effort here on the floor, though, by Smith. Gets it ahead, but it rolls out. No good for Timothy. The putback, though, is going to go. So McCooley gets his second consecutive basket, and it's now 72-53. And we have timeout.
For Robert Morris, number 24 down the screen, and number 50, Boz.
Robert Morris taking a timeout just to get subs in. We'll let the play continue. Mike Rice coming back to Philadelphia. As we said, spent 2 seasons as an assistant coach for Phil Martelli.
Hey, don't forget, later on at 5, first edition of Nancy Kerrigan's World of Skating. Lake Placid, the site. Nancy and Lou Tilley bring you complete coverage of the International Junior Grand Prix. That's at 5 o'clock right here on CN8 from Lake Placid. 1:20 to play. 72-53, Robert Morris. Off a screen, forcing the pass was Nwigwe, and it goes out of bounds. Bison have the basketball. Into the ball game here is Bass Rosendahl. Out of Holland, stands in all of 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's a skilled big guy, can face up, knock down shots, or redshirt freshman.
Adam Walker takes a seat for the Bison. Here is Theo Livingston in the corner. Swings it out front. McCooley into the corner. Gets it back up strong, trying to dunk. Fouled. McCooley is going to go to the line for a pair. In the final 45 seconds.
Candy McCooley at the line for Howard, shooting
Andy McCooley who has 14 points today, going to try to add to his total. He's a 56% free throw shooter. And the first rolls off.
Robert Morris, number 3, Cody Wilson in the ballgame.
Cody Wilson checks in.
Replaces Dallas Green.
Dallas Green is out. So Mike Rice going to see his team go to 3-2 with a victory here today.
I think he's got to be happy with his team's energy. Wasn't happy the first couple minutes, took the timeout, but since then his team really got up, put pressure on the basketball, and showed you some good mental toughness and intensity on the defensive end.
Yeah, it's one thing to come up with turnovers. It's the second thing to finish. They were able to do that in that first half.
Yeah, their points off of turnovers were the biggest stat all game long, early and often.
There's a story in this one. 33 seconds to play, 72-53, Robert Morris. Timothy will bring it up. 29-9, the points off turnovers in the favor of Robert Morris in this ball game. Down low, fouls before, no. Traveling is the call.
So 20-point differential in that stat, and you've got a 19-point differential on the scoreboard.
And that's all you need to know. Final 15 seconds. Wallace gives up. That ball's going to go about one row deep. Out of bounds. So maybe one final trip here for the Howard Bison, as they will fall to 2-4 with a loss this afternoon. 7 seconds to play. Timothy launches a three. That's no good. Ball comes back to him in a corner, and that will do it. Their final score on this one, 72-53, as Robert Morris gets the victory. They go to 3-2 on the season. We'll take a quick timeout and come back and hear from our player of the game in just a moment.
Yeah, Tone. Yeah, does Mike know? Hold on a sec, here he comes. Hey, Coach. Congratulations. Okay, great. No, Coach, now? Yeah, well, and like... Okay, thanks, Mike. Tony! Quick interviews, all right? We're in a break right now. Coach said it's all right. Nice game. Yeah. Yeah, he thought it was at halftime, but I just told him in about 5-7 minutes, so we might need someone to go get him. He said okay, but we might need someone to go get him. Hey, can you give me numbers on Tony here? Back to back, man, that's tough, huh? Yeah. 15? Okay. 15, 5, and 2. All right, thank you. How much time we got? Is Mick throwing it to me?
I'm here. Okay. I'll give you the sponsor read before the interview. Sponsor read before the interview. Sponsored. And I'll let Murph do the tossing when it's done. Welcome back here to the Palestra. Your final, Robert Morris over Howard, 72-53. And now time for the Eastern Invitational Basketball Clinic player of the game, and it was Tony Lee. Tony Lee with a big afternoon. Eastern Invitational, where stars are born. For more information, log on to hoopgroup.com. And right now, our Greg Murphy is standing by with the player of the game in Tony Lee.
All right, down here courtside with Tony Lee. Congratulations, first of all, on a big win. You guys come out with so much energy. It seems to be the hallmark of this team. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is fair to say. And we knew that we had to come out with a whole lot of energy and toughness because yesterday we got pushed around a little bit and our coach was killing us. So we knew we had to come out and redeem ourselves for today.
Mick and Robert talking during the game that you do just a little bit of everything out there. You look at your numbers and they're kind of spread evenly right on throughout. Scoring points, rebounds, assists. As the senior leader on this team, is that your job?
My job is just to make sure everybody's on the same page, make sure the younger guys got confidence to get in there, make plays, and do their job. But also, I just try to get in there and grab rebounds, dish out a couple assists, just try to do everything, just whatever I can do to help the team win.
You're with new head coach this year, obviously. Things have changed a little bit. It seems like the energy level on this team has kicked up a little bit. You guys came out early on, a little flat. Coach called the timeout. What did he say to you at that point? Because you seemed to turn it on then.
He just yelled at us a little bit and let us know that we wasn't playing Robert Morris basketball. Robert Morris basketball is toughness, defending guys, making guys turn their back to the basket, and he told us that we wasn't doing that, and we knew that we had to do that to win this game.
I just joked with you when you came over here. I said, wow, back-to-back games like that, 2 tough games that you got to play. That's not easy to do for you guys to bring that energy level. You guys will sleep well tonight, I guess.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough to do. And obviously we're not used to it, just getting up 8 o'clock in the morning, eating breakfast, and leaving at 10 to come play a game at 12. That's tough, but glad we got the win.
Tony, congratulations on a big win for Robert Morris. Way to go. Our player of the game is Tony Lee. We've got plenty more to come here between games. We've got game number 2 is coming up in just a couple minutes, so stay where you are. Robert Morris, the winner, 72-53. More college basketball coming up on CNA.
Interesting games tonight too.
Yeah,